Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, President Brian Sandoval of the University of Nevada, Reno, here for the whole show on all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
Before the masks, before the distancing, before the world changed, UMC was ready. Our response to COVID-19 began before the crisis did, with our own team of infectious disease experts who've spent their careers planning for this moment. With a pandemic response plan, we'd practiced again and again, and by blazing new trails in large-scale testing, including every patient we admit. Always ready. UMC.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Do you play golf? The Optimist Club of Reno is hosting the inaugural Ray Pezzanella Memorial Charity Golf Tournament on June 3rd at the Lake Course at Red Hawk Golf and Resort. For more information, go to pezgolf.org. Funds raised go to benefit local children's programs.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're absolutely delighted to welcome back to the program President Brian Sandoval. It is a pleasure to have you here. Bill Raggio said you'd be president someday.
Sam, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, it was funny. I'm going through a list of jobs. Your resume is amazing. You attorney, former assemblyman, former chair of the Gaming Commission, former federal judge, former two-term governor, so you can keep a job, so that's not in doubt. And then you were working on opening up Japan for MGM, and now all roads led to the president of the University of Nevada, Reno. Why, of all the choices you had, the world was your oyster after being governor for 8 years and successful. Why president of UNR?
No, and thank you first, but I love it there. You know, I've been very blessed to grow up in Nevada. I grew up in Fallon, in Sparks, went to grade school, high school, and am a graduate of the University of Nevada, Reno. And you know, as governor, I worked on a lot of educational issues, including higher education, and this was an opportunity to continue working on those policies and improve education in our state to serve the people of our state. But there is obviously a personal piece to this that, you know, I bleed blue. I'm completely devoted to that university, and it's been just a privilege and honor to be able to serve in this capacity. So I'm where I want to be and really enjoying it.
All right, so I'm going to throw this out in our first segment so you can get rid of it. You're not an academic. You
True.
are not somebody who has worked in academia for years. How has that transition been for you and for the academics at UNR?
Yeah, no, and that was an issue that was brought up when I applied for the position. And just as a side note, this position wasn't given to me. There were over 100 people that applied, and I was fortunate enough to be selected by the Board of Regents. And yes, one of the issues that was brought up that I am not an academic. I do have a terminal degree. I have a Juris Doctorate, but
but listen, in common terms, you are not chopped liver.
Yeah.
So yes.
But in any event, historically and traditionally, you've had somebody who's pretty much come through the academic ranks and been an assistant professor, associate professor, you know, fully tenured professor, chair of a department, on to being a dean, and then perhaps a provost, and then president. of a university. But I think there was a recognition that at the time I was appointed, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're in the middle of a budget crisis. The higher education budget had been cut by 12%. There were challenges on campus. And part of what I described in my application was I believe I'm the right person at the right time to lead this university. And I think that's borne out now with some of what we've accomplished, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in a minute. And it's been taking some getting used to, I think, on both sides. And I've learned a lot about shared governance, and it's really important on a college campus that I work together with the faculty, that I work together with the student government, I work together with the affinity groups, and we all come together to bring the best solution possible for the university. And I think they've seen that my intent is to make that campus the best it can possibly be, and who wouldn't want that? So I think it's working out well.
To me, as an outsider, although I have had the privilege of interviewing everybody from Joe Crowley, all the way through up to yourself now as president of the university, but it would seem to me that one of your strongest points, and maybe not everybody associates this with universities, but economic development. I mean, you had tremendous successes in economic development as governor, and the university is a powerhouse and can be an even greater powerhouse for economic development. Is that the way you view it as well?
A piece of it, for sure.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and what I like to say is the University of Nevada, Reno has been in the workforce development business for 150 years. And we will soon be celebrating our sesquicentennial, and we have amazing students, amazing graduates. But part of, again, I think the appeal of what I brought to the table are the relationships that I'd already established within the state. For example, Apple. We worked really hard early on in my tenure as governor to bring Apple to Northern Nevada, and that's worked out extremely well. So now,
boy, that's the understatement of the year.
Well, I mean, it's gone real well for our state, and I mean, we could talk a lot about that. But in any event, we have a relationship, we being the University of Nevada, Reno now, what's called the Digital Wolfpack Initiative, and we have a collaboration with Apple whereby every incoming student, freshman and transfer student, receives an iPad Air, an iPen, and a keyboard. And we have a full-time Apple employee on campus who trains students how to code, how to use their devices, trains faculty as well. Apple just sent representatives from all over the United States to see how we can even improve upon what we're doing already. Point being, I don't think that would have happened, with anybody else. And there's a lot of trust in me in terms of how I dealt with people. But I'm working with Panasonic, working with Tesla, working with Apple, with Amazon, with Redwood Materials, all these companies. I have relationships, and we can establish internships and pipelines for our graduates to work there. So I do believe that University of Nevada, Reno is a very important component in the economic engine of this area. And as I described to the Reno City Council not long ago, a great city needs a great university, and a great university needs a great city. And I think our destinies are inextricably intertwined.
I want to get back to that in a couple of minutes. You probably have the greatest, and I'm going to use an old term here, Rolodex, of any president that ever walked into UNO or UNLV or anywhere else in the state of Nevada. By the fact, as governor, you had to work and approve all of these companies and their deals coming in. But this brings up a somewhat esoteric question. People used to think in the old days, and maybe even before you went to school, but
I'm glad I'm before the old days, or after the old days.
I don't know where we sit in the spectrum anymore.
True.
But people used to think of university, as a liberal arts education. So you weren't just learning one thing, you were learning a whole span of things. In fact, people would get very irritated that they would have to learn Latin, or they'd have to learn biology, or all these different things that may not be connected with what their future path would be, but gave them this really well-rounded education. Have we turned from a liberal arts education in the university system into now a place where we are building the workers of the future in all kinds of different areas? We had it with mining, obviously, for a very long time, but have we now developed into that for all these other high-tech fields where they all need these great workers, high-paying jobs and all the rest of it? Is that the direction that the university goes in?
I wouldn't say that, and I'm the proud product of a liberal arts education. I was an English major at the University of Nevada.
Okay, so busted.
Yeah. But in any event, I think it's really important. Obviously, our engineering school is doing fantastic. We have a brand new building. It's the fastest growing college on campus, our College of Science, College of Nursing, medical school, all those things. But I do believe, and we emphasize this for our students, that it's really important to have a well-rounded education, because not only do the employers want somebody that has those technical backgrounds, but they want somebody who can communicate well. They want somebody who can write well. They want somebody who's a critical thinker and can think outside of the box. So I do believe, and we do have programming on campus that allows and sometimes requires interdisciplinary education, where you do have an engineer who takes liberal arts classes, so that when they come in, and the employers tell me this, why they love our graduates, because they can step in and hit the ground running on day one.
So we have this abundance of riches in the northern part of the state, and I don't want to exclude Southern Nevada. We have a large audience in Southern Nevada. We'll get to that in a moment. But with under 2% unemployment, or around 2% unemployment in the Reno Sparks area, and the flood of companies still coming. I mean, 1998, Roger Norman said that the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center wouldn't be completed in his lifetime, and I've joked with him and said, they made you a liar, because it's more than done. How much more growth can we handle in northern Nevada before we start running out of things? I used to think that we would run out of air, and what I mean by that is that the air quality in Washoe County was not good 25 years ago. They have since been able to clean that up, and that's not an issue. Now the issue is sewer in Reno Sparks. Where do you see us hitting a point where we have too much growth?
Well, I think we need smart growth and targeted growth. And obviously there are a lot of challenges right now with regard to affordable housing, challenges with ensuring that we have adequate water supply. One of the opportunities that I have as president of the university is I also sit on the EDON board, Economic Development Authority of Western Nevada, and these are things that we talk about, that we really have to look out 10 years ahead. But my job is to make sure that we're providing the individuals, the people to take these jobs when these companies come in. So one thing that I've done as president is to, when asked, to insert myself in this recruitment process of bringing these companies to ensure they can have the right people. But I guess I don't know another way to put it, but if you're not growing, you're dying.
Right.
And so we need to continue to recruit companies, good companies, and bring good jobs. But at the same time, we have to be mindful with regard to affordable housing.
Do you see the region expanding into places like Fernley and Fallon? Because you look at a place like the Bay Area, where a 3-hour commute in each direction is not unheard of. A half an hour or 45-minute ride on a nice, comfortable bus with Wi-Fi sounds like a dream for those people, but that would put them in outlying areas. Is that where you see the growth potential for housing, affordable housing?
Well, and it's happening already. I mean, there are a lot of individuals who work perhaps in the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center that commute from Fernley and Fallon, and they come west. And so I think there's going to be a lot of growth in the region. And again, it just has to be smart growth and planned growth. I think there are some projects out in Fernley and out in Fallon that they're starting to plan. I don't think people are going to commute all the way from Fallon and come into Reno. You mentioned these buses, that type of transportation is happening already with Tesla and Panasonic.
But I mean, I know there's not an RTC that covers all of those areas, but don't we need some kind of system that comes in and takes over that? Because there's no way the I-80 is going to be able to handle, much more growth. No,
and it's tough, and I'm not in that job anymore with regard to chairing the state transportation board.
But that's the brilliance of you being in this job, is you've got this incredible background in so many fields. You know, it's almost an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, well, and we have really smart people on our campus, and that's, you know, our faculty. And, you know, I really want to take a moment to compliment them. We have subject matter experts that are world experts in a lot of different things, one of which is transportation. But you see all that work that's happening on the Spaghetti Bowl right now. That was something that we anticipated when I was still serving as governor. It's nice to see that project rolling out to help. But yes, I mean, I think the Regional Transportation Commission is going to have to get involved and work. You know, when you mentioned Churchill County, Fallon, you got to work with them. Fernley is in Lyon County, Story County, all of them. I think there's a regional solution there.
All right, let's take a break. And by the way, please let's make this the first of many discussions.
All right.
Because there's so much to talk to. We're not going to get to a fraction of it. We'll be back with President Brian Sandoval of UNR after this time out.
Ahern Rentals began as Signal Gas Station on Las Vegas Boulevard. Founder John Ahern grew the business by offering rentals. His son Don built on John's legacy, growing Ahern Rentals into the largest independently owned American rental company, with 89 locations in 30 states. Don also brought his experience and vision to equipment manufacturing with Extreme Manufacturing and Snorkel. Today, Ahern Rentals continues to bring its family values to a new generation. Learn more at ahern.com.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com. I'm here at the Carson Valley Inn in Minden with Joey Whitaker. Entertainment here at the Carson Valley Inn is extraordinary.
Yeah, super proud of the TJ's Corral, our outdoor venue, about 1,500 seats. We've had first-class entertainment out there. We've had Merle Haggard, we've had Chris Young, we've had Lee Brice a couple times, we've had Pat Benatar, Joan Jett, who's in the Hall of Fame. We're real proud out there, and it's just a great time. Watch CarsonValleyInn.com. and grab those tickets early. It's not a long way to get away to the Carson Valley Inn.
Pro Group Management specializes in providing industries with the necessary components to satisfy and exceed workers' comp requirements. Every business has unique needs and specific regulations. Pro Group Management stays ahead of the curve, providing up-to-date services to keep your industry in top form. Discover how we simplify your tasks, improve efficiency, and reduce expense to keep you moving in a positive direction. Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with President Brian Sandoval of UNR, University of Nevada, Reno. Without getting into all the details, because I think there are plenty of other places to get into the minutia, with the churn at the chancellor level and now an approaching legislative session, this is another really unique situation. You were on the receiving end as governor of lobbying from the university system. And I don't recall exactly from each session that you were involved in whether it was a Jim Rogers led initiative at certain points, whether it was individual presidents doing the lobbying. What is your thought? Because obviously you are already planning for this next legislative session, no matter who the governor is. What would you like to see? Do you want to see individual presidents going to the legislature and doing their own lobbying on behalf of their institutions? Or do you think that there needs to be some kind of grouping, because whoever comes in as the next chancellor is going to be a newbie?
No, and there's a lot to unpack in there, and I suppose first I'll talk about what my priority is and happens to be a system priority. So we all know we went through the pandemic, and as a result of that, our economy was hit harder than any other state in the country. So part of that included a 12% cut to higher education. A portion of that was restored through federal money, and we were required to if we were going to use that money, fill specific positions, which we did. But that's not part of our base budget anymore. So one of the requests is to ensure that that piece is in our base budget. But we've still undergone a multi-million-dollar cut. So to the University of Nevada, Reno, that's a $12 million cut. And in order to balance our budget, we have to keep positions open. We're not able to hire faculty. We're not able to hire important research positions, which has really affected us. And I think I speak for the other institutions within higher education that they've been affected the same. So that is going to be the priority going into the next session, to at least put us back to where we were 2 years ago. And so there's that. But to get to your question, we will likely have an interim chancellor that is appointed, and later on a permanent chancellor that is appointed. And there have been, in my experience as governor, there have been two different styles. There was one chancellor that said, we are speaking with one voice. I don't want presidents individually lobbying the governor or the legislature. Last session in 21, when I was involved here as president, I think it was a combination of both. There's always pieces, we'll be seeking a new life sciences building. We would love to have that to really modernize our facilities on campus. UNLV will have different priorities. Nevada State College will have different priorities. So I think it'll be a combination of both, but you will see real unity when it comes to restoring our budget.
One other quick question is probably even a simple yes or no. There's been a lot of discussion over the last few years, as you well know, about potentially separating out the community colleges from the university system. Is that something that you would be in favor of, or something that you are not in favor of?
Well, again, there's a lot to unpack there, Sam. And part of that, I think it was question 1, which was defeated by the voters, I believe, by 5,000 votes. There is an interim committee, AB 450, I think was the bill that's studying that very issue. And I think what everybody wants is, let's just decide so that we have a permanent governance structure. I frankly believe our Board of Regents does a good job, and I have a lot of respect for them. And I think they want to do what's best for all of the campuses.
All right, let's take another break and we'll be right back. Southwest Specialties has been making the homes and businesses of Nevada beautiful for more than 20 years. Their experienced designers and craftsmen create the walkways, backyards, water features, and a variety of outdoor cooking areas that add curb appeal and value to your investment. Call today or visit them at their website and see how they can make your outdoor spaces special. Southwest Specialties, creative, distinctive, beautiful.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Events Center in Las Vegas. Host meetings and events on 2 floors. Stay in luxurious rooms and suites. Unlimited branding opportunities. Regional Italian cuisine by Chef Mark Segrisi. Flexible event spaces. Full buyout options. Visit ahernhotel.com today.
Everyone is talking about opioids, but they're not the only drugs that can be harmful if taken in large quantities or not as prescribed. You also need to be aware of side effects from anxiety drugs, muscle relaxants, sleep aids, and stimulants. Mixing prescription drugs with other drugs or alcohol can be dangerous. If you take an Ambien with a glass of wine, it may be enough to stop you from breathing. Prescribed drugs can be just as dangerous as illegal drugs. Take medications only as directed.
Hi, I'm Renee Summerhour, digital news anchor here at 7 at 7. Watch our streaming nonstop newscast immediately with your mobile phone. 7 at 7 is the new way for you to get every bit of local news you need in just 7 minutes. Breaking news, local neighborhood news, weather, and sports are just a click away. Reporters bring you all of what's happening in the Valley. From Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and more. Get every bit of local news you need from the RJ and LVRJ.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Brian Sandoval. He is the president of the University of Nevada, Reno. I have to ask you this question. We only have a minute and a half left. How did you see the potential of Steve Hill, who you put in GOED and then appointed to so many other places? I mean, I've always loved Steve. He was a great guy as a lobbyist of the legislature, but you took him to new heights. What did you see in him?
Well, he's a brilliant man, and he's a visionary as well. So I had worked, he was actually on my, after I was elected, on that post-election committee. There's a term for that, I can't think of it right now, but in any event, just in my conversations when I was running, he had supported me when I ran for governor. I knew his experience in private industry, and I think he really took GoEd to a place it had never been before. And we worked very closely together on a lot of these deals, the Raiders and Tesla and the Las Vegas Convention Center, those things. But I'm really proud of him. He's done an incredible job.
And the latest salvo, Formula One, going down the Las Vegas Strip. Howard Stutz put out a piece the other day. This is not a national event. This is a worldwide event that he's putting on.
No, it's a big deal. It's a big deal, and I think it is almost the final jewel in the crown of making Las Vegas already is the entertainment capital of the world, but the sports capital of the world. There is no event that Las Vegas can't handle and won't be able to do.
Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Please come back soon. I look forward to continuing the conversation. I have, as always, so many more questions.
No, look forward to coming back, and go Pack. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And we'll be right back.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
Because of UMC, I'm putting my free time to good use.
Because of UMC, she keeps me on my toes.
Because of UMC and this guy, I'm here.
UMC, the highest level of care in Nevada.
Early in the morning or throughout the night, professional truck drivers are on the job, serving you, safely moving freight that's crucial to our economy. From the oldest industries to our newest innovators, from the exotic to the everyday. Trucks are everywhere, moving everything. Never afraid to embrace a future that makes Nevada and our nation stronger. Trucking moves America forward.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low. And our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way. Because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
As always, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers 24 hours a day at NevadaNewsmakers.com. You can also check our archive going back to 2005 on our website. Again, NevadaNewsmakers.com. We'll see you on the next show.